Hey, my name is Wildzilla, and today we're taking a look at the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1954. Now, for anyone with over 3 brain cells, you would know that this is the Godzilla that started off the whole franchise. And what do I think about this figure? Well, that's where the actual review comes in. The painting and sculpting on this figure is great. This figure has very ragged and beautifully sculpted details. Sure, this figure is missing some basic paint apps like his hand claws and his mouth. It can easily be forgiven because in the movie it was black and white. So any missing paint apps like his claws and some paint in his mouth, don't worry about it. It was filled in black and white. And sure, you can argue it's pretty cheap. And while it may be pretty cheap, it's kind of accurate. Sure, on the box and the promotional pictures, his claws are painted. And actually, some other apps are painted up more on the actual figure. Geez, what were you doing, Bandai? It can be forgiven considering this guy is kind of cheaper than some of my other SH Monster Arts figures. But let's get into the actual monster himself. Compared to this figure and the NECA figure, this guy's more creature-like rather than a guy in a suit. And while I do like this, it is kind of inaccurate. Kind of. You can get him into some poses to make it look like it's an actual guy in a suit. You just can't look past the fact that he's a giant fire-breathing lizard. The dorsal plates are also done really nicely. No matter what 1954 Godzilla, this dorsal plate always looked a tiny bit off to me in some way. I don't know, I always thought that these two dorsal plates on the 54 design just looks so off. I don't know, but that's just me. I'm not nitpicking about it, after all it is just the design. Just a side note. And surprisingly, most of, if not all of his dorsal plates are painted. I mean, except at the very end, but what are you gonna do there? Alright, I've been rambling about this guy for a while, but now we should address the elephant in the room. Particularly, this certain figure has really derpy eyes. Honestly, I can't even take him seriously anymore. I mean, unless he's standing on the side, then he looks kind of scary. But there was this one scene where this is accurate, so I mean, I'll give this a pass. But now, let's get into his articulation. Godzilla's head and neck is on multiple different ball joints, so he can look up really high up and look down pretty far. His head can move side to side and can kinda swivel. Opening mouth, of course. His arm can move out. Elbow bend and a elbow swivel. And a bicep swivel somehow. It's really limited. I wouldn't recommend swiveling it too much. But he has a ball joint at the wrist which you can swivel. He has multiple ball joints. Godzilla's main body is on 3 different ball joints. As you can tell, here's his upper body, his stomach, and then his lower body. And the top part can kinda swivel. I would not do that. Now onto his legs, it can extend out. He has a bend at the knee, a ball joint on the foot, which can allow for a pretty good pivot. And now for the highlight of almost every SH Monster Arts figure, a beautifully articulated tail. I count about 16 ball joint segments, I could be wrong, but all these segments allow for some beautiful and curvaceous S-tail poses. And that's it. Posability on this guy is awesome. Considering Haruo Nakajima didn't move too much in the suit of Godzilla, you can pull some pretty dynamic poses with this figure. And for those of you who don't know who Haruo Nakajima is, Haruo Nakajima was the suit actor for most or some of the Godzilla Showa era films. And may he rest in peace. Now, let's talk about his non-existent accessories. The thing is, this figure would look really cool with some type of misty atomic breath. Because misty is how it was in the movie, and it could have had the potential for being one of, if not the coolest Godzilla effect part. Who knows, maybe they'll remake this figure, but an atomic breath repaint. I don't know, I could do this myself, honestly. Size comparison time. He is a little bit on the smaller side. Here he is next to the NECA Leatherback. Pretty crazy size difference. My previous review, the Voyager class War for Cybertron Studio Series Gamer Edition Optimus Prime, NECA Toys Cherno Alpha, and some additional size comparisons. I'm too lazy. So, would I recommend the starter of the Godzilla franchise? Oh, absolutely. This guy's beautiful posability and beautiful painting and sculpting allows to get him into some really good movie poses. I especially like him in this walking pose. But that was my review on the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1954. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did enjoy, consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel, and join my Discord server, please. I want to get that populated. Can you see me being desperate? I'm gonna try to leave a link in the description for you to buy this figure if you can. But with that, I will see you guys in the next video.